And 5 minutes starts now.
Great. So who would like to reach their full potential at work? Everybody, right? Of course, we all want to maximise our potential, and particularly in the workplace. As an executive coach, this is what I do for a job. I work with professionals to maximise their potential. But what does that really mean? What does maximising our potential at work, what does it mean to you?
Being happy and delivering success for my clients.
Okay. And?
Being the best version.
Being the best version of yourself. Yeah, so being happy, being the best version of yourself.
Being satisfied with myself, productivity.
Self-fulfillment, self-satisfaction.
But also receiving a positive feedback from the high-level business owners, executives, so they're actually happy with outcome deliveries that we are giving to the company.
Thank you. So what I'm hearing is, if I am reaching my potential, then it's having a ripple effect on others as well. So it's bringing benefits to me in terms of happiness and productivity. It's also bringing benefits to the workplace beyond myself. Yeah. There is an emerging science called positive psychology, and this is something that's been studied widely by a guy called Martin Seligman. Martin Seligman coins this term called flourishing in the workplace. What do you think that means?
Flourishing, that means you are progressing, you're growing.
Yeah.
You feel fulfilled.
Yeah, so very similar to the potential, it's flourishing. And it's from the perspective of aligning our strengths to our job so that we truly start to flourish in the workplace. So it's really our maximum potential. It's really leveraging our strengths, doing what we're really good at, what brings us joy in the workplace, and by aligning our strengths to our job role, it's a natural state of flourishing. And what is the impact on others when we're flourishing in the workplace?
It's inspiring.
It's inspiring, yeah.
Contagious.
Contagious. So again, there's that ripple effect. So how can we get this? Everybody wants it. How can we get it?
Tell us.
You want me to tell you?
Hire Simone as a coach.
Excellent job. It's funny that you do mention that, because feedback is one of the main ways that we can grow and continue to thrive and flourish professionally. And working with a coach can help you with that feedback cycle. You can also get it just from your peers, asking for feedback and being really proactive in asking for people to be your accountability partners. So there can be one or two, we can keep it really simple, one or two behavioural shifts that we need to make in order to flourish more in the workplace. And the more open we are about those, and the more that we share those with others, it allows people to be part of our journey. So whether it's with a coach, whether it's with a peer at work, or whether it's with your boss or your colleagues, you can ask for feedback on a really regular basis and work with that feedback so that you can keep evolving your game. Yeah? Keep making small changes. What else do you think we could do?
Learn.
Learning. Thank you. What happens when we're learning?
You acquire new skills. You're more confident in what you're doing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're growing. Again, we're thriving. So it takes us to challenge ourselves to step out of our comfort zone into the learning zone all of the time. So if you're feeling too comfortable in your job, you're not going to flourish. In order to thrive, you need to step into the learning zone and stay in the learning zone all of the time. So if you're feeling uncomfortable at work, it's a really, really good thing. If you're feeling too comfortable at work, you're not necessarily reaching your full potential. What else?
New challenges, maybe.
Yeah. Can you give me an example?
If you said if you are in a comfort zone, that means you're not learning, you're not growing. So yes, you learn, and then if the job is not challenging enough, you have to ask for another role or another job, or put yourself a new challenge, or giving yourself more responsibilities.
Absolutely. So again, going into the learning zone, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations so that you're stretching yourself beyond that comfort zone. Moving
But
forward.
if I just can add to Jones, for being able to put yourself into challenges, you need to be self-aware
Yeah,
of things that are missing.
for sure.
But this is not everyone is actually able to be self-aware.
Absolutely. So understanding self is the baseline of all behavioural change. All behavioural change starts with self-awareness. So understanding who we are, understanding what our strengths are, and aligning our job role to those changes that need to take place and those strengths that we want to work with will help us to flourish, which has that ripple effect on others. And it requires commitment. So it requires discipline. Just like we talked about with the food and the healthy eatings and the impact that has on productivity, we also need to make sure that we are committed and making those changes. I've lost it now. Is that 5 minutes?
It is 6 minutes
I
actually.
was going to say it must be. Okay, but it's up to me to wrap it up.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, just wrap it up then.
So thank you for your time. I hope that you are inspired to work towards some behavioural changes and reach your full potential in the workplace. Thank you.
And we start with, who was kind of the answer, you, right?
Yeah.
Then we start with Jean.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
First of all, the interaction was top. Okay. Really the best today in terms of my opinion. The interaction with the team and the examples that you were bringing on. I mean, the situation are really true, and the engagement was genuine. So you did not ask a question just for the sake of completing your presentation. You asked a question because you really engaged us truly. So I really, at a certain point of time, I was even going to ask you questions, you know. But I said no, wait a minute, it's not the way. So and again, you are professional in this topic. I mean, you know this topic very well. You handled it very well. But you played the role as a coach as well. And this is what my own negative point is that the presentation was as if you're talking to me. I felt you were here for me, you know, it's amazing. But it's not the role of the presentation is to be to everybody. Not because maybe everyone has felt the same, but you're doing a one-on-one or a coaching session, whereas it should have been more presentation and more presentation in that sense. I found it, although you were engaging a lot, it was a little bit slow. So the pace would have been faster, a little bit, not more than a little bit. It would have been more, it would have been better. And why did you say at the end that you lost it? You should not have said that. Completely, I was really not happy to
Nice.
you know? Because it ruined the presentation, and you would have just closed it very quickly. It wouldn't even have thought.
Wouldn't have noticed necessarily. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent feedback. It's interesting you say that because that's actually why I'm here, to break away from that coaching style into more of a speaking style. That's the transition I'm trying to make. So, what have you done?
Honestly, as you kept going, I was almost getting angry with you because you took all the words out of my mouth. I could not agree more. Don't want to repeat it. I feel maybe it would have benefited for 1 minute less. You should have cut it short a little bit before. At the end, it was getting a bit short. The first 2/3 of it were great. They're very natural. You engage on it well. But yeah, I felt like you were almost becoming more of a school teacher, asking us a lot of questions instead of giving us the subject matter. Instead, that was the biggest thing. But yeah,
Okay. Thank
exactly
you.
same.
Thank you.
It was very nice. I loved it. You pretended that we were doing the presentation by asking us questions, which is natural. So I'm sure you had prepared, but it felt like we were giving you the material, which was very nice because we all felt like we were participating. And I would like to slow down the two of us to speak, but I agree with Jean. It's been a little faster.
Faster.
Yeah, but it's perfect. It's just for me, it's personal. I'll explain why. When Americans speak to me, I want to punch them because they, I don't know. They assume that we don't, because I'm from Africa, that we don't understand what they're saying. So they come from where they talk to very slow. What is your name? So I felt like, why are you looking at me when you say that I'm not American? So I felt like, please just stop doing that because I'm getting angry in my head. But otherwise it's perfect.
Okay, thank you.
I thought it was great. I love the points and the whole flourishing concept. I love these concepts. I think if you summed it up at the end, and you talked about, I think, self-awareness, lifelong learning, so just to recap it all, and some examples from clients. I mean, it's such an interesting profession that you're in. I actually engage with the executive coach, and I love it when they bring examples from other clients.
Experiences.
Yeah.
Good point. Thank you.
I think your presence is amazing. I think your choice of words and how you deliver them is really good. Your use of hands and gestures was also really controlled, and you're very aware of that. From where I think you could be even better, I think you were asking too many questions. I think you do that maybe to give yourself some time to think what you want to do next. But as a listener, I wanted to hear more of your knowledge, I wanted to hear more of your insights and your learnings. So maybe just be a bit aware of that. I think it was you who said less is more. And I think part of time, rather than saying, oh, is it time, you should have just, that's all I need to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think that would have been a real one.
Yeah. No, totally agree with you. What I missed though is the basic principles of presentation. I think you've covered and mastered it. There's no denial about it. What you should now focus on is to bring a little bit more emotion. Show them that you're really convinced of what you're saying. There was still this, I felt a little bit of that detachment, that you're detached from what you're saying, that you're not necessarily 100% behind it. So even though you are, because this is what you do for a living, but show the energy, show the emotions, and really show them that this is what you truly believe. This is why you are doing that job. This is why you are getting up in the morning to make changes in other people's lives. So if you can manage that, to visually and emotionally include that person, then you're on an absolute fantastic way. The basic principles of presentations you have covered and mastered, like I said, but now when you look at that video, when you watch the video, see it from that perspective. Would you buy yourself from that, or is it something where you can actually improve yourself?
All makes sense.
Cool.
Again, it's the transition, I think, from facilitating a workshop, which is what I do,
One more thing.
convincing, influence, being more of an influencer in the field of that knowledge,
One more thing, and this is also true what you were saying when it comes to trainer. I do understand that an awful lot of people might think, trainer, why would I need a trainer? You should also bring up that example with, let's assume, Cristiano Ronaldo. At one point he knows how to kick a ball.
Yeah, nice.
But only with the coaching, he is who he is today.
Some examples.
Yeah. At one point, pardon?
Like it's not naturally
They
different.
made him first.
Or take David Beckham, for example.
Yeah, that's a good
He
idea.
was, and I'm sorry that I stick with football.
Yeah,
But let me tell you, David Beckham was a very fiat, not penalty taker, free kick taker. Because the way he kicks the ball is insane when you look at it. He has an ability to curve the ball like 20, 30 degrees. And why? There's a story behind it. Because he was training like as if there's no tomorrow. There was a story where it was raining and cats and dogs, and he was still on the pitch and he was practicing. And this is where he is today, in that sense. So again,
illustrate with some examples.
Exactly, come up with examples, for instance, why sportsmen today, they're not where they are today because they taught themselves everything about themselves. Yeah.
Sounds good.
I agree with most of the comments, so some great presentation. I really enjoyed it. I would only add small point that with all your experience and everyone, even those who not necessarily know you too close as your professional and coaching experience, everyone would know you and imagine you as a confident, experienced, wise lady. So we've heard some wisdom, experience, reference to the book that we might need to read. And so sounding like a teacher, like a lecturer, which is great. But you should not have looked into your notes. No one would ever notice that you've lost the track or there is something that you would love to add, because this immediately breaks that confidence. So they can catch you that, probably maybe she's not too sure about what she's saying, and this is not the case. So you know what you're talking about, you're self-confident, you're experienced enough, more than enough. So you should just not even look into that, just keep it as a flow going, and that's it. So no one would notice that break.
Good point. Thank you.
Great.
So I know how it feels when you lose the track. I really liked, sometimes you put like pauses in your own talking, which was very nice. And then on the not so nice thing, which came around that it's more like a training than a presentation, there were sometimes too long pauses when there was either just before a question or just after question was quiet. I think it was like too many questions in a way, and you know that you want to get away from that. About what Sasha mentioned about the basics of the presentation. So I liked when you started making moves, but they were like shy moves to me. So you talked about stepping out of the comfort zone, and you made just a little step, and then you made like getting back into your topic in just a little step. So I think it's worth of emphasizing those steps. Be bolder with those movements. I think you had one or two of those movements as well, which was quite good. So just be more bold about this, which gives you a bit more engagement that you already have in these topics. Okay, so coming to the ums and ums. So I noticed, let's say during the core of your presentation, just one of the ums.
Okay.
So you got two more once you started about talking about losing topics, and then you had like two more, so actually none. But something I noticed, it's maybe not filling words for you, it's part of the flow that you're having. You're using a lot of, so this and this and this, so it's not like a break in between, it comes within the flow, but I just started counting them, it's like 7 or 8 of these, so then you can do this and this. So this is, I wouldn't count it as a filling word, as again it comes into the flow, but if you start focusing on it, maybe that's somewhere where you can use other words or use a pause in between, which might be suitable.
So there was too many so's.
That's why it was part of the flow, and I think you mentioned it to someone before, it did not really occur as a filling word.
Okay.
Yeah, just because I focused on it.
Yes.
I counted a couple of them.
Okay.
It fits into, you ask a question and then you say, so this means this and this and this.
Yep.
So this is how it's in there. It's not a necessary, so that's basically
Okay.
all right.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.